All right, hello and welcome to the Southbound Sports Show. I'm your host, Richie Leahy, here with my co-host, Matty B. Summer, it seemed like it just started, and it seems like it's going to wind down. One of our last pre-recorded shows coming up today. It seems like it's a slow period, but I got a barrage of texts on Sunday about the United States. I think that's when they played Mexico in the Gold Cup for soccer. And honestly, number one, I didn't know it was on. Number two, I had to look it up because I read something about how the United States had lost like 4 games in a row. And I thought it was the finals. We didn't even make the finals in 2023. So for World Cup, I was looking at the schedule then, and I thought, oh my gosh, this team is bad. And the World Cup is next year. So there's no way. I was ready to go. I was hoping to see the men's team play. And I thought they're playing in LA, the group stage. They would have to win that to advance. I don't know where the second round is if it's still in LA. I was hoping they would come up more towards like DC. It seems kind of weird to have like United States and then shove everything on the West Coast when most people live in the East Coast. It just seems odd to me. Like, hey, come here. Same with like the Olympics. Like, hell yeah, we're going to have the Olympics all in LA. Okay, awesome. I really don't want to fly out there. Like if it was driving distance, I could make the trip. I would still like to go. I'm looking because I think Atlanta has a World Cup place. I know they would never put the men's team in Atlanta. Let's be real. It's not Choptober, bro. Which is Braves suck right now, which is so embarrassing because I told you as like the owner, like sweet, you can like vote on people. And last year they were like, vote for us for 3 years. I voted no on every single person. And now it's like I was right. I think the board stayed, but it's like, come on guys. You got to make some moves to stay relevant. And spending and letting guys go to the Yankees is bad business. I don't care about my other owners voting blindly for people. Same with like the Packers, dude. I always very carefully consider who I'm voting for. I think most people just vote, yeah, keep it going. Keep what going? Not even winning? But that's an aside. Back to the men's team. I don't know. There's so many young kids now where I thought by the time I was like an adult, like, oh, the United States is going to pick it up because there was a focus more on soccer when I was in school, even though I didn't play it. Now I see a lot of kids that really only play soccer, and they're good, like, 10 years out now? So we're talking like 2 or 3 World Cups to see how this group responds coming up. Ones that, I mean, football, like the number of people playing football has lowered. But I'm still wondering if the people that are playing football are the more athletic, right? You can lose a good bit of your player base, but if your absolute stud athletes are all playing football or a different sport, it doesn't matter if soccer's more popular now in high school. You're not going to get the World Cup because like the other countries, the best of their best, unless they're super tall and playing basketball, they're playing soccer. The best of our best still don't do that. And that's why I don't know if any type of push marketing is going to change that. Because in reality, more people watch the Super Bowl in the United States than anything else. So you still have that carrot like the people are chasing instead of having like multiple carrots hanging from the stick. You just have football as the most popular. They tried to make basketball popular, but I've been talking to Matt for a couple weeks now about it. Like, I don't know a lot of the players, and I feel like in the 90s when like SportsCenter was on and everyone watched it, now like they're feeding you the info and you knew almost like all the players. Now it's like with social media, you don't have to follow crap you don't want to watch. So, like, I don't know what some of these sports are doing. NHL had their draft. It's like the WNBA is doing their thing. Caitlin Clark's team, they won that inner like championship thing that the NBA has tried to kick off. I've never heard anyone brag about that. And to me, that's kind of like the popularity like barometer, right? They didn't even need Caitlin Clark to win it. She was out injured. And I know they were celebrating it like it was a great win. But she just had a groin pull. If it was a really meaningful game, she would have played through that. You can't change my mind on that, right? Like Halliburton for the Pacers, I feel bad for him because he had a calf injury that I'm wondering if that had something to do with him tearing his Achilles, and I saw that he's out for all of next year for the Pacers. But because it was the finals game 7, he wasn't casually sitting it out, right, to rest up. And that's kind of what I feel like Caitlin Clark did, like a Christian McCaffrey. Okay, middle of the season, I don't care about this. Girls, go ahead out without me, and they won it, which is great. Because I think it is kind of great marketing for the league to have your star winning these titles, but that's no better than like Michigan winning the Paul Bunyan Trophy, or like some other school winning like a random rivalry game. Because I mean that's what I saw someone put together. I don't know if it's from The Athletic, but people were sharing it with me, like college football's biggest rivalry games. And they were like, oh, like Michigan and Ohio State's number 1, but like Michigan doesn't have another rival on the list. It's like, yeah, but everyone wants to be Michigan's rival. And look at the TV numbers. Most people watch those games. There's only a couple other like bigger games. Like even like people watch Michigan State more than any of their games. Doesn't matter where you put it on the list. Like the dudes are fighting in the tunnel. How many other rivals are fighting? Like, Michigan's getting guys trying to fight them every game, it feels like. That's a real rivalry. It's not a big rivalry, like, if you just have two random good teams. Like, Alabama, Tennessee, to me, from the outside, yeah, that might have been a big rivalry, but when? Not my lifetime. Like, nowhere near my lifetime has there been anything near competitiveness or even like hatred. I don't think. I think most people know the Auburn Alabama thing, but that's what I think is missing from like some of these other like WNBA sports and like the men's soccer. They should hate Mexico. That should be our number 1 rival. Like if you look at the Gold Cup stuff, rival, like Mexico has the number 1 number of Gold Cups. The United States goal should just be to beat Mexico. And then if you're good enough to do that, then in the World Cup stage, you can take it. Saying like, oh, we're prepared, we're focused on like style that will do well at the World Cup. It's like, who cares? Put it together, win your rivalry games first. Then win the Gold Cup. Like I feel like when Harbaugh put down his like Michigan goals where it's like beat Ohio State, win the conference, win the national championship. And the United States should be beat Mexico, win the Gold Cup or whatever like their side of it is, then win the World Cup. Like competing in the World Cup doesn't matter. You're not going to win like if you can't even win any of the closer games. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you, but I also think part of it is, I don't know. There's so many athletes that I feel like could make that team or be on that team. It just seems like almost like in a comparative with football or basketball when you're not picking a team that plays well together. You're just picking like from a pack of cards of who are the best players. We'll just throw all these random people together and then be surprised when they don't play well. Like a team that kind of stands out to me in that regard historically has been the Washington Redskins, where like with Dan Snyder as their owner, he would just go into every free agency and just be like, who are the top 3 or 4 top players? I'll just offer them the most insane contract. And they would just miss the playoffs every year because it was just guys getting a big payday and not actually fitting within the scheme. But you applaud, like he was like the anti Bob Nutt. Right? He's like, no, we can't buy any player. We can't get anyone to help our team. I was like, please, like desperately trying to win and throwing money at the problem. I mean, I think there's a happy medium where get the guys to represent Team USA in a way that they're going to play well together, and then if you're competing at some of those other tournaments, like build successes, stack those wins, and then compete on the larger scale. We should be crushing everyone.
Yeah, we should. Like on our side, not like worldwide. I could see like some countries being close. They've had a pipeline for like forever. But looking back and seeing like the United States was runners up in like 1930 or whatever, there's really no change from that, right? They could very easily be runners up this year in the World Cup. But the focus should be on going on a string of runs. Like, I'm kind of torn because the Braves did that in like the 90s where they won the division a bazillion times in a row where it was kind of like a given. And then they only broke through in one World Series. But I think if the United States just won a bunch of Gold Cups in a row and then they broke through and won one World Cup, I think people would go insane. And then those kids growing up, they would kind of circle around and be like, oh, yeah, now I'm a fan of this team. Because you see it like now where a lot of random people down here in the South, there's no team. But a lot of people my age are Braves fans. I'm assuming because they grew up when the Braves were good and there's no local team. MLB tries to shove like Baltimore down your face down here, the Orioles. How's that even in the South, like remotely close to North Carolina? Like you have to drive all the way through Virginia to get to Maryland for that. And then Atlanta, I mean, I guess it's closer to people like in Charlotte and a large bulk of the state. So just pushing everyone, Major League Baseball, to like TV and trying to keep it on the northeast coast is kind of like crazy. But I think if the United States, right now, a lot of kids, like maybe it's because NBC paid for that Premier League like thing. I see it everywhere. I see like Apple TV had like some soccer content on there. Like what was that thing from that Always Sunny guy, Rob Mack? I don't know his real names. Like him and that other guy that plays Deadpool. Is it Ryan Reynolds or is it someone else?
Yeah.
Like they bought that soccer team and they're like trying to pay to make it jump to the Premier League. It's like, bros, how about you help invest in U.S. soccer? Like, why are you jumping, you Americans? I think they're both American. Like, why are you going across to some team I've never heard of and trying to, like, make them into this powerhouse? Use some of your star power from, like, being in movies and TV and try to get young kids to play soccer. Like, that would be more impactful, I think. Because, like, I think we both agree that we've seen better athletes play different sports. It's hard to get them all on one team to play soccer. But there should be enough people in the United States that even some of the high-level athletes that don't want to play football now, and if they don't want to play like baseball or something, soccer's right there. They just don't have the incentive of like, hey, I'm going to be like paid a ton of money. I feel like you'd have to almost be like a Tiger Woods type, where you're like the best soccer player. And they try to do it with Pulisic, but he does. Like every time we have a guy like Freddie Adu, I remember I was like a kid growing up, everyone was like, he's going to be the guy. They stink in the World Cup stage, right? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'm supposed to get hyped about that. It would be like watching the backup quarterback for like the Redskins or whatever you brought up, and it's like, okay, that's my guy, like the backup. Like, yeah, he's a star in our country. Or like, I guess an NBA guy is like a guy from Germany that's like the sixth man. Like, it feels like that's what the United States' best player is. He's like a sixth man on one of those Europe squads. And that shouldn't really be the case. But they try to pay for Major League Soccer to get more talent. And maybe that's what it takes. Because if you have the best players in the country, because like Michigan had, when I had season tickets, they had like Ronaldo's team, I think, play at the Big House, but it was like their B squad. So it'd be like you're in a different country and the Pittsburgh Pirates come, and you're like, oh, great, I get to see the Pirates. And the Altoona Curve show up. And then you're like, oh, well, what is this? So then, of course, I didn't go. I thought, man, I've run off, and I don't think he played. Maybe he did a little bit, but I'm like, if they would have put on paid and had them do the main team in the biggest stadium, right? Like, then you might get some people that are interested then.
Well, that was almost like with speaking of the Altoona Curve, there was like one of the end of the year trips. They always do like opportunities to see the Curve play, and it's always like these earlier time things that I thought that's a little bit like it's cool to go see them, but at the same time it's like looking down through the roster and it's like they're clearly playing like they're not top tier guys. You guys batting like 180. Like, come on, Bow. You better just go get a job in town because this baseball isn't working out for you.
I know. I see that too. Like, you hear guys that are like, say they're average, and it's like, he's hit one home run all year, and it's like the last game of the year, and you're like, oh, he's not being the savior today with a home run. We know that. So having them, like, it's good. I think the pain point is like, hey, come see minor league. It used to be like the affordable option. It's just as expensive as a Pirates game. Like, you can't even tell me that it's not as expensive going to see a pro and a minor league game. They used to do like cheap discounts for like snacks or whatever, but it's still expensive. I mean, when I went to the Pirates, they had the same deals because no one was going, right? I'm sure if people were attending, they wouldn't be giving out like 2-for-1 hot dogs or like, hey, dollar dogs or whatever they're trying to do to like get people in. I forget what the Pirates did when I was there, but I was surprised at how little money I had to spend, right? And so the Curve, it's like the same amount of money. You take a family, dude, you're like looking at $100 if you're trying to go. And people, how do they expect you to pay for season tickets and do that? To watch guys hit 180? It's like insane. Like, I honestly don't understand it. Like, if you had season tickets, you would have to, and you had kids as a parent, you would have to sit down and say, look, no matter what temptation comes over you, you will never, ever buy anything at the stadium. Like, we'll be so much in the hole on this, it's not even fun for the parent. I feel like. Unless you have, like, it worked out or some other cycle or something. Because, like, if you're tailgating and you have season tickets, baseball's such a long season. It's like cut in half. Like, Curve probably have, 40 home games or something like that. Insane.
Yeah, I would say that.
It would say, because I'm thinking that their season's like half of what Major League Baseball is, and they have like 82 or whatever, 81 home games was what it should be. Half and half. You never know with the schedule makers. I saw Major League Baseball. This is like an old article. This has probably changed. But like a decade ago, they were like, we have a person create the Major League schedule because there are rivalries to consider. I'm like, dude, you could have an algorithm create the schedule 100 times faster than paying this one old dude that's been doing it for 30 years to keep making the schedule. Like, they have video games that legitimately spit out fake schedules for like infinite amount of times if you're playing franchise, right? You don't need one human dude making it all up. Because they were doing like what you said, like, you got to throw in a random day game. Why? Why do that? You don't have to do anything. It's like, well, we do that because then schools can come, or like you can do like a day event, like a work thing. Like, oh, we're going to go for work today. We're going to go out and do whatever.
It gives the good guys a day off.
Yeah, they can sit. And then if there's a rain like game or whatever, then you can do, that's like their built-in rain makeup days. Or like, because we'd rather have a doubleheader, at least I would have, back in the day. Had a doubleheader, then having to play an extra game on like a Friday or Saturday that you didn't expect to have a game. Because that's just taken away from you, right? You get one night off, and instead you have to play a rain makeup game. Because like if you have a rain makeup game, you're not really expecting to be off, so you don't have plans or anything. It's like, oh, I'm just off, right? So then having a day that's actually scheduled and you like could have plans, and it's like it rain makeup. That's the only time I would appreciate having an earlier game or an earlier day, like type game. But I don't know. I think I went way off the rails today. I just wanted to kind of complain about the United States. Actually, I don't even care about the World Cup now. Is that bad?
No, I don't think.
Because like years ago in college, I was hoping that like the United States could get together. It's the one thing where you have friends, and in college football, like you'll have different teams you like, so it feels like you're never really pulling for the same thing. But the United States soccer gives you a group for everyone to reunite, and you're all cheering for like the same team. But then when the team stinks, it's like, man, is this how like Rutgers fans feel every year? Like the 8 wins is like us getting past the group stage of the World Cup. People are pumped. That's like a Rutgers bowl game. You're like, yeah. Bowl game. Probably not going to win, but we're there. Chalk it up. Good season. Extend that coach. Definitely don't let him go to Tennessee, where he'll get rejected for being a loser. That still baffles me. I forget that like Tennessee was about to hire Schiano. And then they're like, nah, he stinks. Like the fans are like, horrible move. And it worked out for him, dude. That's the craziest thing. They get Upel. Otherwise, they would never have had him. They would have had Schiano. They wanted your boy, but the groomers didn't work out. And then could you imagine? Here's a hypothetical for summer off season. The stuff that came out about Gruden that got him fired from the Raiders, do you think he would have been fired from Tennessee for the same thing? Go.
I'm going to say probably, because I feel like there's so much stuff that within athletic departments, they're just not, it's easier for them just to be like, nope, we know that there was an issue there, so see you later.
I mean, it took a lot of hand-wrangling to get Urban Meyer out of Ohio State for weird text chains and email chains and stuff like that. I still wonder who the hero was that put in that like freedom of information request. Like that FOIA act that got Zach Smith's emails out there and his purchase orders. What an absolute hero.
Well, like, and that's where I feel like, that I just don't think any athletic department or any administrative type group or person wants to be the one to try to justify like obscure purchases like that and be like, oh yeah, we knew about it, we're good. Like it's easy to just be like, nope, they're going to be harshly disciplined and blah blah blah.
Could you imagine if you were the person filling out that request and you saw like the things he was buying? And you were like, oh, gosh. Why did they accept these? Urban, why did you sign off on this? And then you have to send it out because, like, the law, because it's like a state school, so they have to, like, put that information out there. And you know it's getting him fired. Like, that, I bet that guy or gal was stressed out super hard that day. That's when they pull out the bottom drawer and just start drinking. They're like, well... Oh, here goes the football team. They're not going to survive this, man. There's no way. And so it's just interesting, like how that whole shift changed probably at least Tennessee. I mean, I said they haven't been competitive with Alabama in terms of a rivalry, but now with the expanded playoff, I don't even know if a rivalry really counts. Because, like, I mean... I said Mexico should be the United States rival, but if Mexico starts stinking, we need to kind of figure out who our next biggest rival is. And is it just that small tournament? I think we're in one where it's all of the Americas. And then wouldn't it be like Brazil or someone be our top rival? Like, I feel like we shouldn't stop at the lower rival. We need to elevate our game.
Just start picking a fight with somebody else just to have a bigger rival.
Well, it feels like we're in the Big Ten West, bro. We're just like, we're losing to Wisconsin every year. It's like, oh, come on. We're like, what are we doing? You're like Nebraska. They're like, you should be good. We used to be. We're doing other sports now. We're doing volleyball and stuff. And they're like, no, you need to focus on what you're good at. And they're like, come on, we can't beat Wisconsin. We're like, I say, it's like, we can't beat Mexico. But we really should be beating those teams, those bigger bad teams that are like winning the World Cup. Like Brazil. And they're like, oh, good one. Good one, Nebraska. That's what it's like. But you have to have high hopes, right? That's what the United States, we got to be proud, Matt. We got to believe in our team. Because I was thinking, like, man, I'm waiting to see what the schedule is. I want to see what teams make it. I want to see if Poland or Ireland makes it and where they're playing. Because then I can at least go see another team. Like, how good is Poland going to travel to the United States for their World Cup? They need some supporters there, right? I'll go, paint my face, get real crazy. All right? Then I don't have to go to L.A., right? I don't even know what the other cities are. There has to be some nicer cities out there. Nothing against L.A., but it's like in Inglewood. Snoop Dogg sings about there. You think I want to go there? It's like when...
Not on purpose.
You know, it's like when Michigan played in Houston. It's like, come on, anywhere else, man. I would have went to Atlanta. Come on, guys. No one wants to go there. It was a storming. And then, I mean, they had a horrible tragedy in Texas again this week. So prayers out to the families affected by those floods or whatever.
Oh, absolutely.
So crazy. But yeah, I honestly didn't have a whole lot this week. Is there anything you want to talk about? It'll be the shorter show that I always promise and I never deliver on.
Yeah, I really didn't have a whole lot.
I saw Penn State paid for the top hockey recruit. McKenna, I think. He's supposed to be like the next Sid Crosby. So he wasn't even going to go to college. Yeah, you there?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was weird. Teams like crashed or something. It like took my screen down, but then it's still recording, so then it was like I had to rejoin. But I'll have to cut that out. Hopefully that was quite enough to find it. I think Penn State paid for the top hockey recruit. I think his name is McKenna. I'm probably wrong now because technical issues has me worried about the computer not recording. But he wasn't even supposed to go to college, but with NIL now, they're able to kind of bring in, and I saw whoever Penn State's big donor is also like an owner or like someone like for an NHL team. And I don't know if it's Buffalo, but I saw all kinds of conspiracies flying around now, which made me laugh. That they think Penguins are going to get the number one pick again, so they can draft him. He could stay in Pennsylvania. And that's part of the deal of why he picked Penn State randomly. He's like the only top recruit to ever go to Penn State hockey. But if you have big money and you have one guy that just loves hockey, right?
Yeah, what the heck?
That's what I'm wondering. Like, I always see Michigan's like kind of close in some of these sports, and I see like there are some diehard alums I've seen like posting about it, and it's like you have money, you could literally buy us a championship if you really wanted to, right? Like, there's no reason like Oklahoma should be winning random softball championships, right? Unless they have like a baseball hotbed I don't know about. It's like same with like some of the teams over here on the East Coast, like South Carolina. They really went hard into baseball. They won 2 titles, I think, like a decade or 2 ago now. And then Coastal Carolina's like, we're going to go hard into baseball. And they won a title and almost won another one this year. And so I still think other schools with NIL, they can even out. Like if Penn State decides like, hey, we just can't. We're close in football, but we're not getting the top recruits we need. Because I was trying to bring up the recruiting rankings. I think we talked a little bit about it last week, but with USC and like Oregon now and Penn State, like the Big Ten and even the ACC now paying, with Miami getting back into having like top recruiting classes, it's not a surprise when the SEC school started like complaining about whatever, and then they had all their bagmen years. During the bagmen years, the SEC was so dominant. As soon as bagmen were like didn't matter anymore, oh my gosh, it's back to like 1980s, 1990s recruiting. Like, it's not a surprise that it's like the same teams that were competing. I mean, like Michigan had 2 Heismans in the 90s. Like, oh my gosh, all of a sudden Michigan can start slinging money around. Okay, awesome. Like, they went after a tractor trailer back in the 90s, got Michigan's like boosters cut off. The NCAA did, and all the southern schools, but Harbaugh can't take one camp in the state of Alabama, because God forbid some kid didn't want to go to Alabama, right? Boom. So I'm loving it. I'm loving that USC is number 1 right now, and if they can keep recruits out west, even if Michigan has to play them, like, I don't care. Michigan beat them last year. Is Lincoln Riley even coaching these guys up? Right? Just don't let all the top talent from the entire country go to the SEC. That's all I want. Because if they don't have the depth, then you can see the northern schools back in. But the crazy thing is, like right now, Michigan's catching up to Ohio State. If Michigan can pull a couple of 5-stars, they could be really close in terms of like team talent for the first time in a while, which would be nice. I think the Brady Hoke days, to be honest, but Brady Hoke just couldn't get the deal done with his recruiting. I mean, he had the recruiting, he just didn't have the in-game coaching. Got to have both, buddy. Got to have both. That's kind of like the United States. Doesn't have top talent? Does it have the coaching? Nah, not that either. Perfect. Perfect for soccer to lose at like random teams, like Panama and other teams you shouldn't be losing to. But yeah, I saw Florida State's coming back up, which is good because like the difference was Florida during the Bagmen days, they were on top. Like, they were able to keep kids home, and it was kind of like a weird shift. And if I told anyone, like, it's kind of weird when Urban Meyer and his Bagmen scheme went to Florida, they became elevated to the point where they were like better than Florida State and Miami, which historically was not the case at all. Right?
Yeah.
He takes those boosters to Ohio State. Florida hasn't been good since. I mean, in reality. Right? I don't even know if they even made a run in the SEC since then.
No.
So seeing them like hanging out with Tennessee recruiting, and SMU is right around Florida now, which makes me laugh. Because SMU's coming in there and they're spending money, and that's a school that like no one in the Big 12 even wanted. Like the Big 12, honestly, the new Big 12 I'm talking about, when they were trying to stay alive, all right? So get this. Texas and Oklahoma announced that they're leaving to go to the SEC. They tried to do like a Pac-12 merger. Those Pac-12 schools went ahead and went to the Big Ten. Then they did merge, but they didn't take everybody, which I think was a mistake. Not so much for, like, in terms of competitiveness or whatever. I think it was a mistake because now the Pac-12 is able to live and take teams like Boise State that have been relative or like have been, yeah, they've been competitive on a national level, right? So the Big 12, if they would have locked down Washington State and Oregon State and just said, you know what, let's eat it, but we're going to be in the top 4 by default because we're going to eat the 4th conference. Now, the Big 12, like, is their champ even going to compete? To me, I mean, I think the ACC is a clear number 3 ahead of the Big 12. Do you agree?
I would agree with that.
I mean, I'm not even an ACC fan, right? But if I'm looking at recruiting now, go ahead.
The one thing with the ACC is that they negotiated a settlement with Florida State and Clemson to end their lawsuits. And I feel like there was a special clause that was entered that I do think is relevant because it had talked about in the event that a super conference is formed and they want to potentially bring teams from the ACC in, the amount, like if 6 or more teams are able to get into a super conference, that they can get out for a significantly less amount, which I felt like helped them because when you're looking at like the schools that we've typically talked about, your Florida State, your Clemson, they threw Virginia in there, Miami, UNC, Georgia Tech, that if there's an opportunity to form a super conference or like a higher level league, that they were able to get themselves out. And that was one of the concerns that I had from the Florida State side of, do you agree without having that academic status that's required for the Big Ten, or knowing that the SEC pretty much doesn't want you, that does it leave you boxed out? If you're like, we just need to get out of the ACC because we're running on such a deficit, it's going to be hard to compete dollar for dollar with those programs that are just making millions off of their TV deals.
And so that's where I think the Big 12, when the ACC went nationwide and kind of locked up, I mean, great athletic schools like Stanford that has a ton of national championships, and even grabbing SMU, it's funny that SMU is has a higher recruiting class than anyone in the Big 12. And then the Big 12 checks in at with BYU around 23. The only other team that's in the top 30 from the Big 12 is Texas Tech. And they've been making a big push of spending for NIL. And they're not even in the top 25. And I mean, they paid for that pitcher that got them to the softball World Series. I don't think they won it. But they paid top dollar for a pitcher, NIL-wise, Texas Tech did. And they need to start paying to survive. But after the way they treated Mike Leach, I don't care for them at all. So, I don't want them to be good. I'd rather have them. The only team that I kind of feel bad about is West Virginia, because they were the ones that kept the Big East relevant after Miami and them left. And even their battles with Pitt, that was pretty much it. Once, they went, if the ACC would have just took West Virginia and went to, the even number, not really worried about Louisville, I think ACC football would have been in a lot better spot. I don't think West Virginia football would have fell off. Because they brought in, Virginia Tech and stuff. Virginia Tech was kind of a flash in the pan. They didn't have long-term success when the ACC brought them in. They had, the Mike Vick years. West Virginia has had success. They played in the 80s for a national championship against Notre Dame. They've won. They were winning the Big East. They weren't keeping up with, the Notre Dames, but the ACC didn't need another number one. They needed someone that could be the fourth best team behind Florida State, Miami, and Clemson. And I think West Virginia at that point in time, they had just crushed Georgia in one of the bowl, BCS bowl games, not just ReliaQuest Bowl or something crappy. So ACC, I think that was the one move, putting their noses up, saying academics. And then now they're waiting. Their entire conference is waiting to see what the Big Ten does, and it comes back down to that same academics argument. It just makes me laugh. Because it's oh my gosh, our conference is barely alive. But they're clearly number 3. So it's not they have teams in the top 10. They're going to be competing in football, whether the Big Ten and the SEC like it or not. Now, whether these schools are just kind of trying to compete so they can say, look at me, take me out on a date. Some chick dressing up real slutty, hoping to get a date, right? Because not that popular. That's kind of what the ACC schools are to me. Hey, yo, let's get all all pimped out over here. Come check me out. Like, especially Clemson. Like, look, I'm here. I exist. Look at me. I'm waiting for them to like start writing letters to the Big Ten. Like, look, I'm right here. South Carolina and them, they don't want me, but the Big Ten, we could help each other. But I need a little bit more than just one sport. I don't think Clemson's even good in any other sport. And that's what it comes down to. But that was the last thing I had to bring up. I don't think I had anything else to talk about. Was there anything else you wanted to bring up? I know you talked about the Florida State stuff already.
Yeah, that's about it for this week.
So, summer slow period. I did start up I almost said Final Fantasy. I started back up the Fantasy Football League, so there'll be some content there. I got to decide who I want to use my keeper on. I had some horrible decisions last year, like picking up Caleb Williams and stuff. So now I have to kind of rethink. I got to get back to my championship ways. Bad year. Actually, did I even do that bad? I don't remember. Probably not good if I blocked it out. But we will see what's coming up. I'll try to give my early thoughts with maybe a few sly moves in there so that Matt can kind of maybe take the bait. I'll give him a little hook, line, and sinker. Talk up some studs that I know aren't going to be good. Hopefully he drafts them. I also got to leave a note to people to hopefully they listen to the show and they know not to bid without putting in your value. Don't just click on the button because if someone else types in some crazy value, you're going to be bid up to like $100. Don't do that. Pay attention to what you're doing. That's my last tidbit. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next week.